Thank you, Telu. This week, we are looking at activities of quoted companies at the Nigerian Stock Exchange. And with me here is a stockbroker with Interstate Securities, Gbenga Ogunrionola. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
We have seen the quantum of performances of quoted companies on the stock exchange that it has given the exchange that kind of leap that none of us actually expected at the beginning of the year. Tell me why that has happened and what's your impression about it?
Well, I think the performance that we have experienced thus far in the markets this year has actually been a surprise to many, because when the year started, we knew that the market was going to rise, but not to this extent. And I think one of the ingredients of any market is stability and sustainability. When there's a liquidity, you know that there will be stability, there will be sustainability. And we have seen a lot of liquidity in the market in the last couple of months.
Does that refer to the investors' window that the foreign central bank has come up with?
Yes, that is one of it. Okay. You know, there must always be something that will stimulate the market. And that was the stimulation the market needed. Okay. The market in the last couple of years now, particularly last year, was starved of liquidity. And we saw companies, despite their good performances, we saw them not really recording any major increase in their prices. But with the window that was opened by the CBN for foreign investors, it brought about the needed stimulation into the markets. And when the other people in the local parliament saw it, they decided to also enter.
I know that you have waited for about 3 years to, come to this level. Yes. So between January and now, what percentage of increase have you seen, on given stocks in different sectors and the general performance of the all-share index of the Nigerian exchange?
Well, generally we've seen above 35% or thereabout. Particularly the banking sector happens to be the major beneficiary of this leap. You have some banking stocks that have recorded over 120% increase from the price they were at the beginning of the year. And generally we are beginning to see it also cut across board. It's going to take time for us to see the whole sector in the market being affected, but at least a sector must start. The banking sector has started. We are beginning to see some other conglomerates also coming on board. We are seeing stocks like WAPCO, like the Okoma and Presco also coming up strongly. And I believe that generally, as long as the liquidity is sustained, we'll continue to see the whole sector being affected positively.
So now the foreign investors, they are not complaining again about the Nigerian market. Those stocks that were dropped by Morgan Stanley company, yes, have they come back to the exchange? Well,
not really. But what we are seeing is the fact that many of the other markets all over the world are saturated. Our market had been in limbo for a very long time. And because many of these foreign investors, they would rather keep their funds than to risk it. And when they saw that the window was opened by the CBN, many of them developed a wait-and-see attitude. Let's see. And for those that entered early, they are beneficiary now.
So now the Nigerian market is the cash cow?
Yes, at least for now, we see a lot of patronage from the foreign investors.
Okay, let's see how all of this, has rubbed on the quoted companies. Let's look at those of them that have already brought out their second quarter result, or even review the first quarter performance, with expectation to second that about to enter the market. Okay,
like I said earlier, the year 2016 was a turbulent year in the economy generally. We had the Naira being exchanged for the dollar going as high as 500 Naira to the dollar. And of course, for a lot of companies that are into manufacturing, it affected them negatively. And since the beginning of the year, we've seen some level of stability in that. Now they are able to make plans and they are able to plan and budget well. And that has positively affected the dollar too. I mean, and against the naira has firmed up against the dollar, and that generally has positively impacted those companies. So the high cost of operation, high cost of getting raw materials are currently reduced now, and we have them doing pretty well.
So give me a view of the second quarter, expectation of the market.
Well, I believe that the second quarter is going to be an icing on the first quarter results. For many companies in the first quarter, they did relatively well. Many companies did relatively well. We've seen some results also come in the second quarter now. Stocks like Fitsin, their second quarter was something else, quite impressive. We've seen Dangote Flour too, very impressive, extremely impressive. And I believe that other stocks too that will be following suit, particularly the banking stocks too, we are going to see impressive results based on the first quarter which they did. We're going to see a continuity in their second quarter.
So if we allow this to flow forward, that means expectation for the third quarter will equally be high, is that?
Definitely it will be high. What we're just hoping is that the liquidity will be sustained. You know, what the market in the Nigerian parlance has always been relatively okay in terms of return on investments, you know, but the issue has been the issue of liquidity.
Which has returned,
and we are hoping that it will be sustained.
Oh, okay. Let's leave it there. Gbenga Ogunrionola, thank you very much for coming on this program.
Thank you for having me.
I've been speaking with a stockbroker at the Nigerian Stock Exchange, Gbenga Ogunrionola. He's working for Interstate Securities Limited. Let's leave it there. Tolu, it's back to you.